Well, this week, the Judiciary of Guam will honor those who perform their civic duty. We're talking about jury duty, and it's Juror Appreciation Week. The Honorable Judge Alberto Lamorena is here with us to tell us what's going on. First of all, how should I address you? Your Honor, Judge?
Just call me Judge. Your
okay,
Honor.
all right,
matter.
Entirely. I want to make sure I get it right. So, why Jury Week?
Well, you know, Andy, we one of the rights of under our Constitution, under the Fifth Amendment, is that a person who's convicted of charged with a serious crime is entitled to a jury trial and the selection of an impartial jury. And of course, in order for that person to exercise his constitutional right, we have to select members of his peers to judge whether or not he's guilty or not guilty. And the jurors are usually selected from members of the community. And so therefore, it's the responsibility of each citizen to make sure that every person who's brought before justice gets to exercise his right to a trial to be judged by a fair and impartial jury, members of his peers. Yeah. The only way to do it is to pick members from the community to serve as jurors.
Right. And how is that selection process? Can we get a peek behind the curtain? Or?
Yes, usually we start with a list, as everything does. We get it from voter registration, driver's license, water and power subscribers, and then we select from that 4 lists, and then we select a jury pool. And we send out questionnaires to see whether or not the juror is eligible to serve in the jury. Right. One, that he has to be 18, he has to be a U.S. citizen, a resident of Guam, and then there are exemptions which the legislature has passed, which may be a disqualifying factor for a person to serve.
This is such a process just to get that jury, isn't it?
Well, one, we don't want to have people that are not qualified and who cannot be fair and impartial. Right. So therefore, we have to make sure that if a person who's charged with a very serious crime demands a jury trial, then therefore we've got to select, we have to scrutinize that we select a jury that's fair and impartial, and the defendant can have confidence in the way the jurors are selected.
Right. And there's got to be challenges with that now with social media and 24-hour news stations to find someone that is impartial, that is not seeing the news flashed up there 24 hours
Correct.
a day.
And that's been a challenge to the judiciary. We've had, since, you know, a news story comes out, before you know it, the entire island knows about it. So therefore, it's a very challenging for the judge to try to pick a fair and impartial jury. Just because you know of a fact doesn't mean it's a disqualifying factor. Right. The question is, can you be fair and impartial? One, can you hear all the evidence in this case and come with a just and impartial verdict for the defendant or for the people? And third, are you willing to listen to all the evidence and keep an open mind? Right.
That's one thing you want. Because if someone goes in there with their mindset already, oh, I read it, I know what happened, then you don't want them.
We don't. Well, it's not that we don't want them. It's that we want to make sure that the defendant who's exercised his right to a trial is confident that the jurors that are judging him are not biased.
Yeah. And, you know, it's something that I think is crucial to our system, our justice system. And you know, no offense to you guys, but nobody really likes seeing that letter like, oh, okay, I've been selected. Because you do have to take time off from work, and one of the things that is very important is employers, by law, I believe, have to let those employees go perform their duty.
Well, you know, it's a responsibility of every citizen in Guam, to make employer and employee, to participate in the jury selection system. In other words, nobody is exempt unless you're excluded by some of the exemptions that the legislature has passed. So everybody has to serve, whether you're working or not. You're the worker or the employer, you still have to serve. And we advise everybody that's, you know, the Constitution and the government requires little of the citizens. We require mainly 2 things. One, that you pay your taxes, and 2, that you serve in a jury.
If called upon.
And if called upon. They used to have the military draft, but then that's, we've gone to an all-voluntary army. So basically, there are just 2 responsibilities that a citizen has to do. One, to pay his taxes, and to serve in a jury. And they're both very important because in serving a jury, again, you're there to make sure that the person who exercises his right to a speedy trial gets a fair and impartial jury. And We've gone through a very, very long process to make sure that happens.
Yeah, it is a lengthy process.
Yes.
I mean, we've seen, you know, things get held up in court for time and time again, and that might be one of the factors where something does get held up.
Yes, sometimes it takes time. Sometimes the defense counsel will file motions, discovery motions, suppression motions, you know, whether or not evidence was properly seized,
right.
et cetera. That has to be decided by the court. Once that's decided, then if the person still wants to go to trial, then we select a jury.
Wow. So it is jury week, Juror Appreciation Week. Are there any big festivities planned or anything? How can we, the people, celebrate?
Well, Friday, the three branches of government, which is rare, got together.
Whoa,
and
that's breaking news right there.
Very good news. And they appreciate, all three branches appreciate that the work jurors have done for our government, for our community. And all three signed, the governor signed a proclamation, the legislature signed a resolution, and the Judicial Council passed a resolution thanking all those who served as jurors, and we appreciate for their service and for the commitment to the criminal justice system.
Yeah. I mean, roughly how many do you think jurors a year?
This year we called on 3,000.
Wow.
Last year we called on 7,000 to 8,000.
Wow.
And last year we had about 60 to 70 trials. And we anticipate, so far this year, we've had about 40. And we anticipate maybe about the same number, between 60 to 80.
Wow, fantastic. Your Honor, thank you so much.
Okay, Andy, thank you for inviting me.
Well, you're always welcome here.
And I hope that everybody, one thing I get from feedback from people who have served on juries is that not only did they feel that they've accomplished their responsibility as a citizen and contributed, but they've learned a lot. They learned a lot about the criminal justice system, how the criminal process works, and so it further makes a well-informed citizenry.
Good. No more armchair judges?
No more, hopefully. That I cannot say. Everybody has an opinion about everything.
Your Honor, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Andy.
All right, we've got more coming up after the break.